What is up, Dynasty DNA Strand crew, and welcome back to another episode of the Dynasty DNA Roster Audits. I'm your host, Dynasty Wizz. Today, I'm joined by the Dynasty DNA Network's #1 host. He's reclaimed it, folks. It's TJ Blake. What's going on, TJ?
Not much, Wiz. Thanks for that introduction. Just so everyone knows, I'm going to get a crown and wear it during the shows just to rub it into Fantasy Feud guys' faces. They need to get humbled a little bit. It's okay. Sometimes you just got to come back down to earth. They do a good job. I can't say if they don't, but whenever you try to overtake the throne, the king just calls up more soldiers and we just take back control. So that's what happened. But I will say this, I give them credit. They do a good job. But like I said, Big Brother's still out front.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta show them who's dad, every now and again.
That's right. But there are some good episodes coming up for Fantasy Feud. You and I were talking about that in the pre-show. We got some good stuff coming up this summer. And, all kinds of great stuff, not only for Dynasty DNA, but Fantasy Feud. I'm excited for the fans. I think they'll enjoy it. We know that Ty and Muscles disagree on Dynasty philosophy, so be interesting to see how much further that goes on into the summer. And can Muscles persuade Ty any? I doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we just need Marvin Mims to produce a wide receiver 3 and Javonte be an RB1, and then Muscle will win forever. That's all it takes.
If that happens, I could just see Ty. He would be he'd probably throw up. He'd be so sick.
It'd be great though. It would be great for the content. But today we're gonna be going over TooTallCeeLaw, and so for his league, it's gonna be a Superflex non-tight end premium. The direction he wants to go into is contending. Anything else we should know about this league before we start diving through his roster? And he said just started the league, drafted roster. They went in reverse order for startup. Pretty normal. And he ended up trading AJ Brown in the second round for a 10th and a 5th, which turned in so he traded AJ Brown a 10th and a 5th for White, Stevenson, and a rookie pick that ended up being 1.3, which is Marvin Harrison Jr. So wow. That's what he did during the startup. But let's get right into his roster here.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm excited to get into it. And I'll say this, man, C-Law, great team. Great job. You've done a great job building this roster. Me and Wizz were impressed. We were looking at this at the beginning of the show. And we're like, man, really, what can we do to make this roster better? Like, you don't see many like this. So pat yourself on the back. You did a heck of a job in your draft. And kudos to you for that. But that being said, we did think of a couple ways maybe we could tweak this roster a little bit. We don't want to get too out of hand. But the way we look at it is, me and Wiz looked at your roster. You're very deep. You're deep in a lot of positions. You got a lot of good quality players, but sometimes being a little too deep can affect you too. Cause like Wiz and I were talking, who do I start this week? Who do I start that week? If you got a couple guys that are hit or miss. And what we were figuring on doing is maybe we could take a couple of them guys that are okay players, and can we tier up into another superstar player? If you could add another superstar into this roster, you're already going to still have enough depth. We see you have all your draft capital still, which is phenomenal. But we add all the depth, or we get rid of all the depth, add another superstar, and we still have our draft capital just in case of injuries, and we have to go out and shop around for players during the season. So that's great. So that being said, the first trade that we come up with, as far as trying to tier up into another mega player for this roster, we're looking at Team Balls, BAWLZZ. He's down towards the bottom of the league here. And I'll tell you what, C-Law, I really think that you can make this deal happen. So what we're thinking about doing with him is, can we take Jordan Addison, Chris Olave, and James Cook off your roster and trade them to Balls for Justin Jefferson? I don't know if he'll do it. Some people are a little bit more impartial to Jefferson. There are some people that are a little skittish right now with the quarterback situation being what it is in Minnesota. So maybe he would pull the trigger on something like that. And I'll tell you what, man, if I could get Justin Jefferson with that kind of price where I'm not giving up heavy draft capital, I would do that all day long. And some teams, I've kind of seen this, like the prices have been all over the place for Justin Jefferson. There's still people that value him extremely high. And there are some people now that are like, okay, if I can get some pieces and maybe I'm willing to cash out. So if you throw an Olave at him, if you throw an Addison at him, if you throw a James Cook at him, maybe you can land a Justin Jefferson. And honestly, if we even had to add a little plus, I'm not against that either. But I wouldn't get carried away because from what we see, this trade does come out even. So I really like this move. Olave is a guy that we talk about a lot on the Dynasty DNA show. He's a nice player, but he's kind of just heavily overvalued in Dynasty circles. He just is. Like, he's a consistent wide receiver too. Like, that's all he'll ever be. If he ever does produce a wide receiver one season, which I highly doubt, it'll probably be 11 or 12, and he'll just sneak in there, and there are probably going to be some injuries along the way with some other guys for him to even get up that high. But I have no problem giving up these pieces for Justin Jefferson. Wiz, how would you feel about a move like this?
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of like you were saying, TJ, just to piggyback off that, we were going through, like, how is he going to make decisions weekly on his roster? Like, that's one of my mistakes I had in the league. I had too much depth, and I kept starting the wrong players. Like Calvin Ridley would have an on week, and then that's the week I would not start him, and I'd start Puka, and he had a down week. And it just kept happening throughout the whole entire season, and I barely missed the playoffs because of it. I had the second most projected points. It was awful. Terrible luck throughout the whole course of the year. So we're just going to help you kind of prevent that issue and kind of move up on these players so it's just easy, set, and forget. You have to move around for bye weeks and stuff like that. And hopefully tune into the once the season starts up, our live show that we're going to be doing right before kickoff and stuff like that, where we kind of answer those questions and help guide you guys. And that way there's more people giving you advice on who to start. And at the end of the day, still start whoever you feel more comfortable with. But that Jefferson trade, I mean, you're getting the wide receiver one. I mean, there's a lot of question marks there. And I feel like it's opened that nice buy window where before he's not really obtainable. There is questions about his quarterback play, but we've seen him with Nick Mullins last year, with Jaron Hall. I think Jaron Hall played with Jefferson for a game. And he still produced at that elite level. He's QB proof, and you should feel confident taking him in there. The only way I would not draft him as wide receiver one is in redraft, and that's just for obvious, concerns and just limited more of a ceiling play. But Jefferson, I mean, if you have an opportunity to get him, you got to go try. At least knock on the owner's door and see.
Exactly. And again, like even if we had to add a little plus, I'm not against it. I wouldn't get too crazy from what we have, but I think he come and said, okay, I want like a second round pick or something. I'd say, okay, yeah, I might consider that, but I wouldn't get too crazy. But I think if you could land a deal like that, that'd definitely be a good one. I know you have another trade that you're working on, Wiz, to where maybe we could upgrade for him as well. What are you working on?
Yeah, so we're going over to Captain Crunk here. And he has Christian McCaffrey. He's towards the bottom. He's team 6, so he's probably just the edge of a playoff team. I'm guessing it's probably 6-man playoffs in your league. But would I be able to trade James Cook and Jordan Addison for Christian McCaffrey? I mean, Christian McCaffrey's a difference maker, right? He's literally a cheat code, like Travis Kelce has been historically throughout his whole entire career. He's putting up quarterback numbers in an RB slot. Like, there's no other positional advantage like that currently in fantasy football. So, I mean, if there's at all a chance where you're like, dude, your team's like, I mean, I wouldn't say this in his DMs and like shit on his team, obviously, right? You gotta be more tactful with it. But just kind of go over them and be like, hey, is CMC available? This is what, and then shoot him that trade. Be like, I'm open to counters and stuff like that. And kind of gauge. And this is like, basically, you're going to notice this throughout the whole entire video. All we're trying to do is tier you up. And that's using a lot of those bench players, stuff like that. So what do you think about that trade, TJ?
Yeah, absolutely. Home run if you can pull that off. And it's a perfect player to add to this team, Christian McCaffrey. Much like a Justin Jefferson, like Wiz says, we're trying to tier up. When you have a roster this good, you have the luxury of being able to do that, put yourself in a great position, and I'm all for it. If you could land Christian McCaffrey for them prices, do it. And we know he just signed that extension with the 49ers. So that makes me feel even better about it. I mean, we kind of know running backs, right? They have a short shelf life, but I can see CMC being a little bit of a unicorn. And being in that Shanahan system, it's just perfect for him, man. He's staying put. He's not going anywhere. And, yeah, I mean, you add him to this roster, that would be great. So I'm all for that. Another tier-up trade that we have here for you, C-Law, is could I go over to Team Ronnie B and trade him Chris Olave and Jordan Addison for Amon-Ra St. Brown? I'm all for that, too. Amon-Ra St. Brown's captain consistent. You add him to this roster, you know what you're getting every week. Going back to what Wiz said at the opening, we want to get a lineup. We want to set it. We don't got to worry about it. We get players like Jefferson, McCaffrey, Amon-Ra. We get any one of them. We plug them in that lineup. They are mainstays. They're not coming out of the lineup. They're going to be in there. You know you can count on Amon-Ra every week as long as he's healthy, as long as Jared Goff's healthy. So I love making moves like that. And like we keep saying these same players, like because we don't want to make any other crazy moves. I think like looking at your roster, like these are the guys that we just want to use to tier up with. So like I'm okay. Like okay, say the Justin Jefferson owner denies the trade. If the CMC owner takes it, do it. I mean, I'm okay with that. If the CMC owner declines, try this Amon-Ra trade. There are some teams out there that overvalue guys like Olave, Addison, James Cook. Can we leverage them into getting one of these guys? I think with all these trades, you got a good shot to maybe land one of these other superstar players. So how do you feel about getting Amon-Ra here, Wizz? I would, and just like I said with Justin Jefferson, I would even consider adding a second to this deal just to get Amon-Ra if I had to. Now, I'm not going to throw my full price at him right away, but if I had to do that just to get the deal done, it ain't going to make me lose sleep at night. But how would you feel about acquiring Amon-Ra here?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and kind of like you were saying, if you have to throw a second in there and, you know, maybe try to snag another upside player off his roster down there, you know, kind of go through. Same thing with the Jefferson. You know, I'm trying to see like what upside player, like,
just like,
you know, like a Pat Fryermuth or something in there, some guy that can out and gain value later on, so you still have more value on your team, right? Just get any kind of toss and piece, target those lower valued guys. But I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, and if you can get him on your roster, I mean, your wide receiver room is gonna be nasty with Puka, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Amon-Ra. Like, woo.
Yeah. Captain consistent, baby. That's what I love too. So I like that move. I know you're working on another one, Wiz. What do you got cooking?
Yeah, so Cycle 15 here. You know, he has CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase here. It's basically the same thing we've kind of been going over, right? Go ahead and shoot those guys offers too. I mean, he's going to be going around for, I mean, he's worth, it's going to go a little more than Amon-Ra. But Chase and Amon-Ra, I mean, I've seen them getting flipped around in startups. So they're fairly about equal value. Just kind of pick your poison type. So, but just kind of just knock on these doors for these higher price tag players, and that's basically kind of the gist of the video, right? I mean, your quarterback room is solid, right? You have Patrick Mahomes, you have Trevor Lawrence, and you have Will Levis. Will Levis is a question mark. We don't know if he's going to do well. TJ and I both believe we're kind of buying in on Will Levis right now. And TJ was right about Jordan Love last year. And is it a repeat year, TJ? Is he going to be the next Jordan Love?
Well, let me say this. I have a good feeling about it. And, you know, everyone here at Dynasty DNA is like, you know, thinking like, I don't know. Like Andy, I think, is on our side. I think we got Andy on our side. Wiz, Ty and Muss, I think, are a little more skeptical. I think Ty's okay with it. I think Muss is the most skeptical. So if we do get Will Levis to hit like Jordan Love, I told them I'm going to be wearing a shirt in the very next day. Like if he has a mega game, it says, I am the quarterback whisperer whenever I come in. So just so everyone knows, I mean, I did get lucky and hit with Jordan Love last year, but I like Will Levis. I like everything that they're building around the kid. You got him on your roster as a third quarterback. You know, we've heard reports that like he's kind of looked good at times in OTAs, a lot better than last year. Like I heard that they were having some success. It is OTAs, but it's good to get a rapport with all these new receivers. They did add pieces around this kid. I believe in him. You got a really nice roster here, CeeLaw, across the board. I like everything you did. You got a bunch of players I like. You're deep in every position. And one thing Wiz and myself talked about too during the pre-show is try to save that draft capital. If we can make this trade with some of these players and you can hold on to your draft capital, great. Because if we do have multiple injuries during the season, you can take that, flip it for more players, and that way you can, you know, keep yourself rolling until you get some people back from injury too.
Right, absolutely. And there's going to be random league winners that no one's going to predict, right? I guess Edwards was league winner a little bit there. Brian Robinson, Jonnu Smith. There's going to be guys like that this year that no one's going to predict. They're going to be on the waiver wire, or they're going to be on someone's roster and be like, dude, you're in the last place. Let me have him I'll give you a third or a second, you know, and just kind of use that draft capital. That's why it's there for. But overall, CeeLaw, I think you have a phenomenal team. You killed in the draft. Like either people did not know what they were doing, or you just got lucky and just fell in every player possible, like fell in your lap, like gift wrapped like it was Christmas morning, and you absolutely killed this draft. You should be really proud of this team. You know, like TJ was saying in the beginning of the video, we were looking at him like, what does he want us to do with this roster? And we're like looking at him like, oh, tight ends? Oh, no, he's loaded with tight ends. He has likely as well. If Andrews gets hurt, like, you killed it, dude. You absolutely killed it. You should be really proud of this team.
110%. He was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
I wouldn't even say that. Maybe like they were playing like tic-tac-toe or something. I don't know.
Playing tic-tac-toe. Maybe rock, paper, scissors. You did a good job, TooTallCeeLaw. Like I said, you took these guys to the cleaners, pat yourself on the back, and we're happy to have you in the Discord. And if you go to make any of these trades, and let's say someone wants a little bit extra added on, just say, holler at me and Wizz. You can tag us right on there, private message us, whatever. Say, hey, these guys want this for this player. Is it worth it? Should I do it? We'll be happy to help, try to help you get these players. And I think these are all great moves for you. And yeah, like Wizz said, hell of a team, man. You did a great job.
Absolutely. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button down below. Go ahead and comment. Like, what was your favorite trade down below? Make sure you subscribe as well. Go ahead and check Dynasty DNA out on Twitter at DynastyDNA_. You could also go ahead and follow me on Twitter at DynastyWizzFF. Go ahead and give TJ a follow too. You know, he's the #1 podcast host on the Dynasty DNA network. He earned that Twitter follower. That Twitter follow. I don't know. I can't speak right now, but yeah, you'll edit that one out. You're good.
Yeah, I got you under control.
And go ahead and give TJ Blake a follow on Twitter at FFTJBlakeDNA. You know, he's earned it. He's the #1 host on the Dynasty DNA network. So
yep,
go ahead and give him a follow as well.
I got my show back from the hijacked pirates from Fantasy Feud. You know, I just took back control of the ship, baby.
Absolutely. Love to see it. But anyways, guys, if you want a roster review, join the Discord. Probably already said that. Fuck.
I don't think you did.
But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button down below. Comment down below what was your favorite trade that we suggested. And if there's any other trades that you saw that you're like, oh, I would 100% do this instead, you know, comment that down below as well. Help out CeeLaw. While you're there, subscribe if you haven't already. And then let's go over to Twitter. Go ahead and follow Dynasty DNA at DynastyDNA_. While you're there, there's the Discord link. Go ahead and join that if you want a roster review audit. And then follow me on Twitter as well at DynastyDNAWizzFF. And then go ahead and give TJ Blake a follow at FFTJBlakeDNA. But this will do it for this show, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the next one.